coming to you today with a OP build guide for Shadow of War. I don't do a lot of character build guides because they take a lot of work usually to do, but I wanted to share this build with you guys today. Normally, you know, these types of games, there's really not much to building your character, and I don't like character builds because, you know, everyone wants to play differently and stuff. But I have found this combination of what I'm using right now is absolutely ridiculous. I've been face rolling on normal difficulty with this build, and it's just like I go to do the online vendettas or I'm doing a fortress siege or whatever, and this build is just beautiful. So to start off, let's go over the sword that I'm using. It's called the Sword of War. Now, you can get, you know, anything on its first two stats, you know, but what you want to do is you want to get Sword of War, which drops from a legendary warmongerer, and you need to, what would be ideal is if you can get Execution sets enemies on fire, or critical hits have a 42% chance to light enemies on fire. With that, basically, your sword is going to be inflicting fire, regardless of what you're doing. You will always have them on fire, and then you want to use your sword, the Dagger of War. Now, what this does... Now, this one's a little tricky because you can get it with different abilities, but what ideally you want 2 elf shot per stealth kill, and stealth attacks light enemies on fire, which basically means no matter what you do, you're going to be getting elf shot back, which you need for this build. This build is going to be very heavy on the elf shot. You're going to be firing 2 elf shot nearly all the time with this build, but it's not really a problem if your dagger can not only light the enemies on fire but recover your elf shot. So with this, now with these two melee weapons, I'm getting 50 health when I kill an enemy who is on fire, which means that if I stealth kill an enemy, they're already on fire, so I'm getting 50 health back instantaneously from any stealth kill. Then this is critical. You want to be using the Bow of Beasts, the Armor of Beasts, the Cloak of Beasts, and the Ring of Beasts. What this does, it allows you to shadow mount Unbroken Grogs and Unbroken Drakes. And this is critical. Ideally, what you want is you want all the reduced call mount abilities. You want your bow should have the replenish elf shot per ranged kill, which means that every time you lethal shadow strike, you have a 22% chance to get 1 elf shot back per shadow strike or headshot. The armor needs to have call mount. The second ability doesn't really matter so much, but the 12 health recovery per kill is nice. You're definitely going to want on your cloak reduced call mount, and you're going to want that 50% increased damage dealt by beast allies, because you're going to be shadow mounting all the time. And for the ring, you're definitely going to want reduced cooldown as well. The other ability doesn't really matter. The allied Urics take 50% less damage. Yeah, that's fine. So anyways, yeah, this combo works really well. Now, what I'm using for my gems is my sword's got weapon damage, increased weapon damage. You want that on your sword. Your dagger needs to have health stolen. So when you stealth kill, not only do you get back 50 health, but you get back 6% of your health as well. The bow needs to have increased damage as well. Your armor should have increased max health. And then your last gem, your ring, should have the captains automatically gain 4 levels, so when you dominate them, you can increase their levels. I've seen some of the others, like the green ones of it. You know, followers take less damage, increased damage by followers, and I don't find that all that useful. But if you can dominate a captain, you will always give them 4 levels, whether you're recruiting them or shaming them. So anyways, that's for the gems. Those are the gems that I have found to be perfect. Now, character build-wise, this is why, you know, this build, the way I built this character is just beautiful. I should really be playing on Nemesis difficulty, but I would say you want execution, gain might, is absolutely beautiful. Secret might is gorgeous. You gain might for each stealth kill while you're undetected. And then for your perfect counter, gain might from each counter is beautiful. And you'll see why here in a moment. Why I don't use the replenish elf shot? Well, yeah, that'd be nice if it wasn't for the fact that my dagger gives me 2 elf shot per stealth kill. Critical strike, your bonus really doesn't really matter all that much. Ground finisher, I would highly recommend Wraith Shield. This is a beautiful ability. Basically, when you perform your ground executions, you can counter them. And if you if you time it perfectly, you can prepare for another ground execution. So basically, you're basically ground executioning everything in your surrounding area. Brutal aggression is absolutely a gorgeous ability, but I would highly recommend ceaseless might for this build. Simply because it gives you 2 executions. Now, retaliation is okay. And if you're going to go with any upgrade for it, I would say adamant. I'm going to skip actually some of these, and I'm going to go straight down to mounted real quick. What I would suggest is once you get Caragor Rider, now remember, this is a late game build. You're talking like levels 40s and higher for this. I would highly recommend you get Caragor Rider with Pounce, Grog Rider with Devouring Force. I mean, you could take either one of these abilities if you want, but this is really critical. You can only get this through story mission, but you need the call mount, and it has to be Dragon Song. What this does is it allows you to summon a Drake. And then what you also want is you want Dragon Rider. You have to have Dragon Rider for this. And you want to grab Soaring Rage as its upgrade. Now for Shadow Mount, you want the Caragor Breaker. So the way that this works is that any beast you come across, Caragor to Drake to Grogs, you will be shadow mounting them instantly. It basically removes the fact that you need to break them, which basically means that as long as you either dismount an orc or you're coming up against a siege beast or whatever, you can basically just shadow mount everything. And it doesn't matter if they have a Drake or anything else, you're shadow mounting them all the time. And basically, I found that Drakes are ridiculously broken in this game. You could be burning those captains and everything left and right. And you can just inflict fire damage from a safe distance. And that's what makes this build literally perfect. It's basically based around the idea of fire damage and being able to inflict that. Now, here's the question that a lot of you might be asking. So you're inflicting a lot of fire damage, but you come across things like, you know, fireproof. Well, I have a solution for that system, and it's based around my ice damage. So one of the things that I make sure I do is that in the story stuff, eventually you're going to unlock Shadow Strider. Shadow Strider. And what I did was that I went for this Hammer of Eregion. Basically, Volt now freezes them. Basically, that allows you to chain into this other ability that I wanted to pick up pretty early on. Is you got Ice Storm, which, you know, Hammer of E-Region also applies to Ice Storm. So you can flurry attack them after vaulting over them. They combo together. And basically I took Shower of Ice so that way I could freeze multiple at higher hit streaks. So then when you have that, you know, if they're immune to fire, you have Ice attack. But if they're immune to fire and ice and all else fails, I usually just stealth attack them till they're dead. But another method I have open for me to counteract that is underneath my... Give me a second here while I find it. Underneath my... Come on, where is it? Should be around here somewhere. It's one of the Wraith abilities, I think. Yeah, there it is. Nope, that's not it. Okay, underneath my Elven Light, there it is. I took the upgrade Poison Blast, which basically allows me to apply poison. At that point, I have everything pretty much covered. So, pretty much I could do just about anything. And I'm going to show you guys some action play here in a moment. You definitely want to get brutalized, but I would highly recommend Unyielding Ferocity for this, because it builds might and everything now. But this is also important. One of the things you want to keep in mind is Wraith Chain, which allows you to chain to different enemies. Now, you could take Shadow Blade, but this is the best right here, Monster Hunter. So if a monster is giving you trouble and you're out of elf shot, you know, you can just stealth kill the beast. And that works just fine. You can't, like, stealth drain them, but you can stealth kill them, and that way they're just out of your way. So I'm going to show you guys here in a moment on an online vendetta exactly what I'm talking about. And you'll see here, I'm going to stealth kill these guys. I could take out all three of them in no time because of that Wraith Chain. And basically, I didn't even have to do anything. And I practically would regain all my health off of that. So let's see here. We got to kill this guy. So I'm not really suspecting he'll be all that difficult. So we'll see how this goes. But this build, and you guys are going to see here in a moment how effective it actually is. And we're on a load screen right now. So, because I was doing some of these online vendettas and it was working really, really well, this build.
Oh, the promise of that alarm brings reinforcements swiftly. If only you can reach it.
Okay, so basically I gotta do 3 aerial stealth kills, and then I gotta kill 10 enemies without raising an alarm. Basically, this is gonna be a stealth fight. So basically, I'm just gonna stealth kill all these guys. And basically what I can do is that basically I can stealth around, and I need to take out, let's see here. I'm going to try to... And that's an aerial stealth kill right there. So I'm going for that bonus objective. So let's see what we could pull off here. So basically I got to do this without setting off an alarm, and that's not going to be easy. That I already messed up. Stealth kill you. And I don't want him setting off an alarm. And as you can see, I just made him arrive. And let's see what we got. He's a fiery mystic tank.
And no one raised the alarm. Good riddance.
And basically, I got to get to an area where I can check his thing out. So, alright, let's see. Alright, so he's got soft target, damage by self-attack, damage by poison, which tells me he's going to be fireproof and beast-proof. So this is going to be one of those fights where it's going to be a little bit more challenging for me because of the fact that I'm so focused on... but as long as he doesn't have Vault Breaker, this will be not that bad of a fight. So right now, my fire attacks are going to be useless. This is one of those odd times where it's just, it won't help. And I'm going to try, and I'm going to deal damage to him right off the bat. And because he's not affected by, because he can't stop my ice attacks.
Thought you were done with me when you shamed me, did you? I surpassed your pathetic efforts to humiliate me.
Now, you see, that Caragor is getting kind of annoying. So what I'm going to do is... I'm going to Shadow Mount him, so that way he becomes my side, and he regains full health. But he's going to get enraged by the Caragor, which I guess I should have expected. Ow. So, thanks to that extra last chance ability, yeah, this is a rough fight. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm actually gonna bail here, because this is where I need to be a little bit more strategic. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna summon a Drake, and I'm gonna use my Drake to take out as many of these guys here as possible. And this is why this is really, really overpowered, is that guy is fireproof, but I don't think all the captains here are fireproof. So I'm trying to kill that level 40 by burning him. But it doesn't seem like that's going to work too well. So what I'll need to do is I'll need to so what I want to do is I'm going to try to take over some of these Caragors. But now I'm out of Shadow Shot, Elf Shot. So this is going to become one of those times where more strategy is needed. But we shouldn't be too bad off. So I just gained back 2 Elf Shot. And I just fired one shot. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tame my beast.
I think I'll kill you now. That's how he throws right up. What's he see the warriors? Prepare to fire.
And I'm probably not gonna win this fight because of all the So what I'm going to try to do is try to bail on this again. This is not a good one to show you guys because he's immune to fire. But generally, this is actually a rather really good build. And it works really well. And as you can see, I'm still surviving. But now that I have more elf shot, I should still be able to down him. Alright. This is another bail scenario. So what I need to do is I need to start thinking about this fight a little bit. And as you can see, I just gained back a good chunk of health there. It's not much, but because of the way that that works, I got back 50 health and I got back 6%. And because of the way that this works, and see how I just perfect countered him? And now I can do it again. As long as I keep perfect countering. And I want to take this guy out right here. Okay, so he's now adapted to my vault. That's going to cause some problems. So what I need to do is So basically, thanks to my ring wraith ability, I was able to raise some of my guys from the dead. So he might be fireproof, but I can still stealth injure him. I'm using everything at my disposal. So he's able to regenerate his health, which is really annoying. Yeah, we're gonna die. Sorry guys, that was a poor vid. Normally this is a really good build. But that is just a poor choice of a fight for me. I'm sorry about that. I'm gonna delete this vid anyways. This is really, really freaking poorly recorded.